All right, Labour Party crisis. INEC has practically refused to remove Abures' name from their portal as the national chairman of the Labour Party. Well, the crisis is not ending anytime soon. Senator Nanadi Usman, the Critical Committee chairman, is here to make some clarifications on some certain issues. Recall that Abure fraction has sanctioned and suspended some of its members, like Governor Oti and other members. And you also recall that the Critical Committee of the Labour Party has also sanctioned some of Abure fractions in person of Abure and his secretary. This crisis has continued to linger. I like you to watch this video and listen to what Nanadi Usman has to say about the Labour Party and the crisis and how they intend to resolve it with the help of INEC and other parties involved.
The suspension of Julius Abure over allegations of gross misappropriation of funds and anti-party activities. The ratification follows an investigative report by the Senator Ireti Kingibe-led disciplinary committee set up by the National Caretaker Committee to look into the allegations against Abure. Well, the report suspended Abure and National Secretary of the party, Umar Farouk, for a period of 6 months and warned both not to parade themselves as national chairman and national secretary. All members of the Abure faction of the National Working Committee were mandated to cease from acting as representatives of the Labour Party or face more disciplinary measures.
And as the crisis in Nigeria's Labour Party continues, Abia State Governor Alex Oti is asking the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to implement the Supreme Court judgment to preserve the integrity of a court and protect democracy. He also wants the Inspector General of Police to arrest factional chairman Julius Abure for impersonation. In the statement, Oti claims that the Supreme Court has unambiguously ruled that Abure is no longer the national chairman of the Labour Party. Well, the Abia State Governor urges Nigerians to disregard the news of his suspension by the Abure faction, describing Abure's actions as an attempt to be smart by half after being summoned by a committee to respond to allegations of misconduct. What is the way forward for the Labour Party? Well, Senator Nanadi Usman, who is the chairman caretaker committee of the party, joins us in the studio tonight. Thank you so much for joining us on the news tonight.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
You know, I want to begin by asking you, when you look at political parties in Nigeria, I think they're all headed by men. Yeah, about the only woman heading a political party in Nigeria.
That's true.
How are you faring with all of this?
It's really tough, honestly.
And how did you get here? How did Labour Party get here?
I think we got here as a result of selfishness, greed, people who knew their time was up, should have left or conducted elections starting from the ward level, like you have ward congresses, local government congresses, state, zonal, then you come and have the national convention so that you can emerge again if you want to remain as a chairman. But when you say you don't want to do that, but you want to remain a chairman, then there's a problem. And if you remember, the umpire, INEC, at some point stopped recognizing Abure as the chairman. He went, I think, on 2 occasions to attend meetings, and he was told to leave. We watched it on TV. So I think that this just summarizes how we got here.
And it's really unfortunate because many Nigerians, not a few, are hoping that Labour Party will be able to take it a notch further in terms of our political democratic ethos, but it looks like as is with the APC, the PDP, so it is with the Labour Party. But first off, I need you to clarify this because yesterday, Julius Abures said you're not a card-carrying member of the Labour Party.
As if I knew that was going to come up.
And therefore, he would not, bother to suspend or to expel you. I need you to clarify that first off. Are you a card-carrying member?
I am a card-carrying member.
Party?
And as if I knew you were going to ask me, I decided to come with my card.
Fantastic.
So at least you have seen it.
Great.
Registered,
yes. Signed, sealed, and
my
great.
Okay. Yes, I'm from Kaduna State. My ward is Jere South. My local government is Kagarko. And my polling unit is Fada.
So you're a card-carrying member.
Yes.
Now, okay, that's it's good that we clarify that. The Supreme Court, the highest court in the land, has ruled on an issue and said, look, this is the internal affairs of the party, whether it be Labour Party or any other party for that matter. But in spite of that, you still haven't been able to, find it within the party to, look for that internal, system that you can use to resolve your internal party issues.
Well, as I said, it's all out of selfishness. Because if the party is supposed to fix what is wrong internally, in the absence of having done or conducted congresses from the ward right up, the only other people that you can rely on to take decision on behalf of the party and choose leaders are delegates that are qualified to do that. And who are these delegates? The delegates are members of the National Assembly, that's senators, members of the House of Representatives of Labour Party, members of states, houses of assembly, and the one governor we have and his deputy. And these are the people that came together to decide that henceforth we want to have a caretaker committee saddled with the responsibility of going to organize congresses right from the ward to national convention so that new leaders will emerge. I cannot emerge as chairman because I can't succeed. I'm just, Senator Darlington and I, what we are told to do is just go and organize the party, let it have structure. Right. If you remember, when His Excellency Peter Obi was contesting to be president, most people kept saying that Labour Party has no structure, Okay, we want to now go and put the structure. If INEC itself says you don't have your structures, all the structures are, the people, their tenure is over. Have new congresses, elect new people. That's what we want to do.
But are you aware, sorry, I need to just, butt in here, that on the INEC website, and this is why I looked at it yesterday, I wonder if INEC has changed it
I'm looking at it
since
again.
that time, that on the INEC website, it's still clearly and boldly written that Julius Abure, based on court order, is,
Yes. And
have you raised that issue at all?
No, we've raised it. We've raised it. But INEC, like all government institutions, they have their own system of doing things, the bureaucratic way of doing things. So they have, I believe, systems and processes. So they are following it through. And at the end, when they are done, they would be able to take the decision to change it. And from what I'm told, they will need to have a meeting of the body of the whole of INEC to come together and take a decision. And I believe they will do that very soon. Okay.
So you say Mr. Abure's tenure has expired, which he denies. He says there was a convention that brought him back in Abia, and he calls in Oka, and he says your emergence in Abia is a charade. You accuse him of forgery and corruption. What specific evidence do you have against him? When you say corruption, I mean, is this siphoning party money? What exactly is it?
Yes.
And for someone who doesn't recognize your committee in the first place, how do you hope to even enforce whatever your committee comes up with?
Well, first and foremost, as members of the committee, we are law-abiding citizens. We follow things through step by step. We make sure that we don't break any law, which is why you will notice that even while the case was in court, there is nothing they weren't saying. I never came out to say anything because I felt I must respect the courts until when the matter was determined. And the ruling came on the 4th of April at the Supreme Court. And since then, we have also been waiting for for INEC to finish whatever processes they are going through, so that at the end of the day, that changing of the name on the portal will now be what will be done. Okay. Aside from that, yes, he says he doesn't recognize our committee, the caretaker committee, but the delegates, those who have been voted for by Nigerians to represent them in states' houses of assembly, the governor, his deputy, those in the National Assembly, they came together. So how can all these people put together, you say you don't recognize them?
So what's the way forward really for the Labour Party? Now that you have, I mean, both factions have suspended.
Yeah. Sorry, because there's one leg, the important leg to that question is, what is the usefulness of the disciplinary committee and investigation committee you have now set up if it doesn't even recognize you and you cannot enforce that?
Well, we will soon be able to enforce it, because as I told you, well, okay, the moment INEC does the needful, because the judgment is very clear. The judgment by the Supreme Court is very clear. It says that we who went to appeal the matter at the Supreme Court, our prayers had been granted. It clearly stated too that Abures' tenure had been over, and that all the other courts, the lower courts that had recognized him as national chairman, they should not have done that because they had no business doing that. So that is very, very clear.
The Supreme Court clearly stated all of this?
Clearly stated all of that.
And did not say that it's an the internal affair
they
of the party?
They said it's an internal party thing, and we should go settle it. So if you say it's an internal party thing, who are those to settle it? All our elected representatives, they are the ones to settle it. And they have come together and said, this is what we want. But he alone and his NWC say they don't agree.
Because they say that is the highest organ of the party at the moment, as you have not heard a convention. They say, as the leaders of the party, the court has asked them to go and settle the party crisis, and that's what they are doing. So this is the interpretation.
Okay, now, so the question is, what's the way forward for the Labour Party? Will your group, your arm, or your faction go back to the Supreme Court to further clarify and remove any ambiguities in its judgment? Is that an option? Or what's the other option? There's this big tent coalition that's coming up. Is that a possibility that you might, you know, if you feel totally unwelcome in the Labour Party, that you might choose to join this big tent?
Well, okay, let me pick the first question. The way forward is INEC is the umpire. The moment INEC comes out with its decision, then we know that the matter is settled.
Right.
That is the way forward. INEC is now the body we are waiting for to come up with their decision. Secondly, you talked about the coalition. Well, I believe that for democracy to thrive and for Nigerians to get dividends of democracy, for them to get a fair deal from the government in power, there must be a vibrant opposition. And if there is no vibrant opposition, then the government itself, without criticisms, they may not even know they are not getting it right if nobody is telling them that you are not getting it right. So I believe in a vibrant opposition. And if the opportunity comes for a coalition, for us to come together with different other political parties to make sure that we form that vibrant that vibrant opposition that is needed, we will want to do so. Moreover, if you remember, when Mr. Peter Obi contested election 2 years ago, if, for example, we had a coalition at that time, and it was the APC with one candidate from all the others put together, you know, the story would certainly have been a very different one. But as I said, the essence of coalition, even before we get to election, is to make sure that we criticize what the government is doing. If they are doing right, we can say, yes, they are doing right. But if they are not getting it right, and Nigerians, the suffering is too much, then we can now talk on behalf of Nigerians and criticize and say policies should, where human face, the policies should be more people-centric.
In other words, you're not part of the big tent. I wonder if you're part of the shadow government, and you didn't respond as well to the corruption allegations you have leveled against Mr. Abure.
Thank you very much. Political parties normally sell forms to candidates or aspirants. So they had multiple accounts in which different monies were paid, all sorts of things happened. I didn't come with documents I would have shown you. And aside from that, for some aspirants, even after they had filled the form, bought forms, filled it, submitted, and even won primary election, other people were brought in, swapped, those that won were removed, letters were forged in the names of those that won, and they were thrown out, and others were brought in. All this, the police, there are police reports, everything is documented. So we feel our party shouldn't run like that. One of the pillars our party stands on is social justice. So if you don't like someone, or if you think someone doesn't have enough money, then don't, right from the beginning, you tell him you don't want him to contest under your political...
Okay.
Don't mislead them.
Don't just
I think
it's
totally wrong.
Right.
It's wrong.
Okay. Very quickly, in 30 seconds before we let you go. I know we have to try to avoid saying that before we let you go. Are you the chairman caretaker committee, or the acting national chairman of the Labour Party right now, as things stand? As things stand, I am still the chairman of the caretaker committee of the Labour Party. Okay, because you're referred to as acting chairman. Well, sometimes I'm even referred to as chairman National Convention Planning Committee. So whichever name is okay. Is okay. All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Nenadi Usman. Thank you very much for joining.